He's an illiterate janitor whose mother tried to abort him.
Warning. The content you're about to see is rated 18 plus. Viewer discretion advised. Lost media is an umbrella term describing examples of media that are non-existent, missing, or unavailable to the general public. The term primarily encompasses visual, audio, or audiovisual media such as films, television and radio broadcast, music, and video games. This week we're talking about 5 pieces of media lost to time. Hello. Before we get started, I just want to say we hit 100 followers on TikTok and growing. It's a little bit more than that now. 665 followers or subscribers on YouTube, 30k views on the channel and growing. This was as like 2 weeks ago, and I haven't posted in like a month. I have a few scripts that I'm working on. My voice cracked. I'm not cutting that out. I don't give a shit. I have a few scripts that I'm working on. I just haven't finished yet. A few interesting topics that I think y'all will really like. I just wanted to say thank you, because we're doing pretty well, and I was nervous about posting on this channel because I know I built a small audience of people who were used to me streaming, and I didn't think a lot of y'all would come back to watch me do more serious content. A lot of y'all didn't, and that's fine. You know, where life gets in the way of living, things change. But I'm surprised at the response that I got, and I just want to say thank you guys. 100 followers on TikTok, that's pretty cool. Almost 1,000 on Snapchat. 665, we're close. We're on our way to 1,000 on YouTube. And that's pretty wild. So this is the biggest my channel has ever been, even back when I was streaming. So it feels cool to watch my channel grow again, to watch my analytics go back up again from being dead for 4 years. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you. Let's get into it. Owen Hart, King of the Ring, 1999. So you probably heard this one if you grew up in the 90s. If you're a millennial like me, you probably remember hearing this story a lot. So Owen Hart was a member of the Hart Foundation. Him, his older brother, Hitman Bret Hart, their brother-in-law, British Bulldog, they're all, wrestling troupe or whatever. Owen was a younger brother. He had a superhero alias called the Blue Blazer, which was still a professional wrestler with the full superhero garb and the mask and everything. But he was kind of goofy, he was clumsy, wasn't very good at what he did, and that was his whole gimmick. So yeah, just to give you a little bit of backstory as to who Owen Hart was, in case you've never heard of him, but like I said, you've probably heard this before. This one's pretty famous. So most of these, I think, are all pretty well known. Yeah, these are all pretty well known pieces of lost media for anyone my age and younger. You've heard of most of these. There's ones you may not have heard of, maybe 2 you haven't heard of. Anyways, so let's get into it again, because I keep getting sidetracked. Stop doing hand gestures. You don't have to do that. Oh, this is going terribly. Owen Hart was a Canadian professional wrestler who rose to prominence in the mid-1990s in the World Wrestling Federation, at the time under his alter ego, the Blue Blazer. Costumed as his alter ego, Hart was set to descend from the rafters at the 1999 Over the Edge pay-per-view event in Kansas City, Missouri. During the stunt, Owen's suspension cable malfunctioned, plummeting him 8 stories from the top of Kemper Arena to the mat in front of a live audience. So the pictures that remain online there's one picture of Owen, he's laying on the mat, the paramedics are around him. You can't really see anything. I think you just kind of see the side of his face. I don't know if I can show that on YouTube. Probably. I'll put it on screen here if I can find that image. If not, I'll just cut this out. But it should be okay because there's no blood or gore, but you know how YouTube is. It's really stupid. The following Monday, the WWF presented a special edition of Raw is War titled Raw is Owen as a tribute to the fallen superstar. The event has since been released on modern digital format through WWF.com with no mention of Owen Hart's final moments. Owen's wife established the Owen Hart Foundation in December of 2000 in his memory. I'll put a link to the Owen Hart Foundation in the comments if you'd like to check out the article or the webpage, the fund that's to Owen and to his memory. So this one I remember, I was alive for it, but I wasn't watching. I was pretty young. But I do remember hearing about it at school, like immediately after this happened. I remember everybody was like, oh my God, I didn't really know who he was at the time. I'm a huge fan of WWF. If you know me, you sure as hell know I'm a huge fan of the World Wrestling Federation. But I don't have any recollection of watching it. I know for a fact it was pay-per-view, and I didn't watch pay-per-views at the time because I was too young. Damn, I didn't think I was going to get emotional about that. I remember the Monday Night Raw after that was called Raw as Owen, when all the superstars came out. Excuse me. All the superstars came down the ramp and they played his music and did this tribute to him on the Titantron. And I remember watching that, and it was really touching. On the ramp during the taping was all the WWF superstars, and the camera was just panning across, and you saw Paul White, you saw Stone Cold, you saw The Rock, Kane, Undertaker, everybody. They all stand on this ramp and they play his music and play like this video tribute on the Titantron. At the end, Stone Cold stands in the ring with 2 cans of beer, slams them together, and salutes to Owen. I remember that was a really cool moment where they say goodbye. So, anyways, on to the next one. Timothy Treadwell bear attack. So this was kind of short. There's not a whole lot of information on the whole situation, but Timothy Treadwell was an American environmentalist and bear enthusiast who spent 13 summers living among grizzly bears in Alaska's Katmai National Park and Preserve. He became famous for his close encounters with the bears and his controversial methods of interacting with them. Treadwell believed that he had a spiritual connection with the bears and considered them his friends. He documented his experiences through photographs, videos, and journals. In October 2003, Treadwell and his girlfriend, Amy Huguenard, sorry if I missaid that, I'm pretty sure I did, were mauled to death by a grizzly bear while camping in the park. The incident sparked a debate about the dangers of interacting with wild animals and the ethics of Treadwell's actions. Some saw Treadwell as a hero who had devoted his life to protecting bears, while others criticized him for interfering with the natural behavior and putting himself and others at risk. His story was immortalized in the 2005 documentary film Grizzly Man by Werner Herzog. So this is lost media, but in doing research for this, I found some YouTube videos that said it was the audio of this attack. So from what I know of the attack, so Timothy Treadwell and his girlfriend, they stayed in this park and hung out with grizzly bears. And it was a really dangerous thing. I'm not really sure why you would want to hang out with grizzly bears. It's kind of strange, but okay. That's your kink. I mean, whatever. So from what I know of the incident, they were, like I said, they were staying in the park, and when they were mauled, the camera had the lens cap on, so there's no actual video of the incident, but there is audio, is what I've heard. I'm guessing he had the camera in his hand when the bear attacked him and he dropped it. But like I said, the lens cap was still on the camera, but the audio still works and is horrifying. So what I saw were all clickbait videos, but there may actually be videos on the internet of that audio in Timothy's final moments. But most of what I've seen has been bullshit. That's about all I have to say about that.
And that's all I have to say about that.
Don't play with grizzly bears. They're not your friends. Like, it's weird that I have to say that to adults, but like, not to shit on this guy, but I mean, it's a grizzly bear. I don't know what you expected. Like, it's not gonna like big bro you and be like, what's up, man, how you doing? Like, it's probably gonna kill you, because a grizzly bears, what they generally tend to do is not be very nice. This awkward pause is brought to you by a joke I made that wasn't very funny, so I deleted it, because like Sneeko, I'm a fool, but I'm not a cuck. So there's that. Also, for whatever reason, I sound like Jeremy from Cinema Sins, so here's a sin for that. We'll move on to the next one. Ricardo Lopez stalker tapes. So this one you may not have heard of. It was the mid-90s. And it pertains to a Icelandic singer named Björk, who I knew of, but I knew the name, but I don't know anything about her. Anyways, Ricardo Lopez was a Uruguayan-American man who gained notoriety for his intense obsession with the musician Bjork. Lopez spent several years creating a detailed video diary of his plans to assassinate the singer through 11 two-hour tapes, which included mailing a package containing a pipe bomb. The tipping point was when Bjork announced she began dating actor Goldie in early 1996. The stalker soon decided that no one could date the star, declaring in his manifesto,
"I'm just gonna have to kill her. I'm gonna send a package. I'm gonna be sending her to hell."
Building the bomb inside a hollowed-out book set to spray sulfuric acid in her face and kill her, on September 12, 1996, he sent the letter to Bjork's London address. After sending the package, Lopez said his goodbyes. In the farewell video, Lopez proceeded to paint his face and head red and green, inscribed racial slurs on the walls and what was possibly another attempt at showing his hatred for Goldie, and played Bjork's "I Remember You" in the background. From there, Lopez loaded his .38 caliber pistol, calmly stated, "This is for you," and took his own life, convinced that he would meet his idol in heaven. The lost media aspect of this. It is lost media in the sense that the actual moment he pulls the trigger isn't available online, but everything leading up to that is. All the stalker tapes that he recorded are available online, everything up until he pulls the trigger. So, which you don't want to see that. Gore fan or not gore fan, don't look that shit up, please. If you look that shit up, go to therapy. It's not good for you. But everything up until the actual moment he pulls the trigger is available online. So the moment itself is lost media. So update, while I was editing, I recalled a few years ago where I did find the videos of Ricardo Lopez, the ones that all the tapes he recorded. I remember watching through the tapes during quarantine, and during watching them I did find the moment where he does take his own life. So I'm assuming it's still available online. View at your own discretion. Please don't watch these things. It's not a positive thing for your mental health to watch people hurt themselves, but it is available online. If you do choose to watch it, just keep in mind, viewer discretion advised. Horrible things happen. Anyways, back to the task at hand. Steve Irwin's death video. This one I'm sure you've heard of. It was a huge thing in the mid-2000s, I believe, when it happened. Everyone knows who Steve Irwin is. Steve Irwin was an Australian wildlife expert, conservationist, and television personality who gained worldwide fame as the crocodile hunter. He was born on February 22, 1962 in Essendon, Victoria, Australia. From an early age, Irwin developed a love for animals, especially reptiles, and spent his free time catching and handling them. He later became a zookeeper at the Queensland Reptile and Fauna Park, where he gained expertise in handling dangerous animals. Irwin landed his first television series, The Crocodile Hunter, in 1992. The show was a huge success and brought him international acclaim. Irwin was known for his infectious enthusiasm and daring approach to wildlife conservation. He and his wife Terry ran the Australian Zoo, which was established by his parents in 1970. On September 4, 2006, Irwin was filming a documentary series called Ocean's Deadliest in the Great Barrier Reef, Australia. While taping the episode, he was stung in the heart by a stingray barb while snorkeling, which caused him to lose consciousness and resulted in his death. The news of his death shocked fans all over the world, and he was widely mourned. Irwin was known for his love of wildlife and his efforts to preserve it. He left behind his wife Terry and his two children, Bindi and Robert, who continue his legacy through their work in wildlife conservation. Many fakes exist here on YouTube, but the actual death video remains locked away with his family and is considered lost media. The Basement Tapes. The Basement Tapes are a series of video and audio recordings made by Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, the perpetrators of the Columbine High School massacre. The tapes were made in the basement of Harris's home in the weeks leading up to the shooting. The content of the tapes is controversial and has been the subject of much debate. Some people argue that the tapes provide insight into the mindset of the killers and offer clues as to their motivations for the shooting. Others argue that the tapes should not be released or studied, as they could potentially inspire copycat crimes. The full content of the tapes has not been released to the public, although portions of them were leaked online in 2006. The tapes reportedly contain footage of Harris and Klebold discussing their plans for the shooting, as well as various rants and diatribes about their frustrations with society and their desire for revenge. There's been much debate about the role of the media in the dissemination of information related to the Columbine massacre. Some argue that the media coverage of the event and the subsequent release of the basement tapes only serves to glamorize the killers and encourage further violence. Others argue that understanding the motives behind the shooting is crucial to preventing future tragedies. In 2007, a memorial was erected behind the school to commemorate the tragedy that befell that small town on April 20th, 1999. So that's all I have for this week. Remember, we do have a Discord community. The links will be in the description if you'd like to join. We're also active on TikTok. I'll have the link to the channel in the description if you'd like to join that as well. Other than that, I think that's all I have for you. So I'll see you next time. Be good to be good at it. Peace out.